Onions. They're one of the most versatile vegetables in the kitchen. Whether they're white, yellow, or red, people can use them for so many things. The only problem is trying to go from seed to onion bulb. Well, here I'm going to walk you through my methods of getting those tiny seeds up to plugs so I can get them out in the garden come spring. And I hope you guys maybe feel like this might help you too. So let's go ahead and get into this and I'll show you how I do it. As you can see here, I've got this pack of Gladstone onions that was packed for the 2024 season. This is 2 years later, so I'm just going to go ahead and do all these seeds into this container just because I have no idea what the germination rate is going to be, and I really just need to get rid of these seeds. So I'm just going to silver sow them for now, and then we'll move on to the perlite. The perlite is there for two reasons. A, to weigh down the seeds onto the surface, and then secondly, it sort of kind of helps to keep the moisture on the surface, as well as avoiding some of that algae that you can sometimes get depending on what's in your seed starting mix, or in this case I've got worm castings in here, so it's just a precaution really. Now it might look like I am just haphazardly pouring water on or into this container here, and no, it does not have holes in the bottom, but in reality I've already measured it out and I'm just going by past seasons when I've done it this way. So all I'm trying to do is just ensure that the entire container of soil is hydrated enough so that the seeds can germinate properly. An alternative is just doing them in cell packs and skipping the whole tray and then covering them up with the perlite like I did already. So here we have the onions that have grown for a while. They've all got about 2 or 3 true leaves on them, and we're going to do something called the process of pricking them out. And all that really is taking these out individually and then planting them into their own little cells. The benefits of this, I feel, is that come spring, all I have to do is just pop out each one of these cells and just plant them straight into a spot where I want them to grow. So the other option I could do is, if I wanted to wait, is just getting out all the onions once they got quite a bit bigger and then setting them into place when it's time to plant them outside. I would rather do this because A, it's cold and there's nothing really going on in that outside right now, so I might as well just take this time and actually do something worthwhile. The only thing you'll really need is, these are little 6 cells, so you'll need some of those. I like to use a skewer just to help guide in the roots, but also to take off the onions without damaging them too much, and then a tray just to keep all the mess contained, although it's probably going to get everywhere anyways. So first thing we're going to do is pull out a few of these. We're not going to sit here and do all of them with you, but I will do at least some of them. Here's a good group of them. So we're just going to go down and pop them up a little bit. Probably could use a spoon to do this too. Alright, there we go. There we go. You can also have a cup of water, which I probably should have done, just to put the onion sprouts in. I'll be bringing you guys over to see what I'm doing now. Just taking the plugs and dropping them temporarily into their new home. Alright. And this way you could also just take the better looking plants too. Like that. It's got a decent root on it. And then only plant the good ones. I mean, not every seed's going to be awesome, but at least you have some that you know you can pick and choose from. Alright, so let's go ahead and bring the tray back. Set that over there. So all we're doing now when we do this is just taking the white, burying it only up to where the white is on here. So let's dig out a little bit of space. Tuck in our roots. Sometimes it works easily, sometimes it doesn't. Just gotta work with it. And of course, my pup is going to want to go out now that I'm recording. She's just gonna have to wait. Alright, and once you get it in there, you really want those roots to stay down in there. So we're going to pack this in a little bit so it stays upright, does not fall, but like I said, you want to make sure that you get enough of that, the roots down, but enough of the bulb buried. And again, it might, just like my carrots, does this seem a bit fiddly? Yes, it is. But just like with carrots, I'd rather take the time now when I'm not under crunch to get it done. You know, just a slow day here at home and have it be done. And there we go. We got one planted. The only thing I have to do now is just water it in and she's good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and get these other ones done and then I'll fast forward it for you guys. Alright, here we are. We've got 12 of those onions pulled and potted into these single cells. Now, it's no surprise that they're going to look a little sad at first, and that's just because of the transplanting and whatnot. But after we water these in and you give them about 3 or 4 days, they'll perk right up. So what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and give them their first water to water them in. I'm not going to worry about getting it all the way through yet, because once I get it upstairs to the grow room, then I'll worry about putting them in a tray and let them soak up as much water as they can. Right now this is just firming in the roots and just getting out some of the air. Now I haven't said what type of onions these ones are. These are called Gladstone onion, and it's a white onion. I didn't grow any of these last year because I tried two different other varieties that were more of a yellow onion. Those were Caliber and Candy. But the thing about these is they are seeds that were sold for the 2024 growing season. So I put them in that big tray just to A, get rid of them, and B, to see how many were actually going to germinate. And I'd be lucky if there was actually maybe 50%. Even though that tray looks like a good amount of them, I know I dropped quite a few seeds in there to only have that little bit. That should have been thick with onions, but it wasn't. But that just goes to show you though, just because you've got old packet, and yes, they say get onion seeds every year. If you've got them, you might as well go ahead and try to sow them. And say you haven't made up your mind about whether or not you're going to buy more or what varieties, you can go ahead and get these started early, because once you get them, especially like this where they're in single cells, they'll just grow for a while. This is my seed starting soil, and if I have to pot up, sometimes I do pot up, sometimes I don't. I just let it roll the way it is. But if I have to pot up to slightly bigger cells, then I'll probably then switch over to my advanced potting soil mix, which is coming in a video soon. But for now, this seed starting soil mix is perfect for these. So they're all watered in now, and they're going to be going upstairs. So now we're up here in the growing room, and as you can see, we've got the container that the onions were in. Yeah, this is the ones that I didn't really mess with. These are the ones I just replanted in here, so that, like I said, I could grow them out just all in here and see what the difference is between these ones and these ones. I might even, if they turn out right, sell some along with some of the strawberries that I'll have in the spring in my yard to the other gardeners in my neighborhood. But that's not really why we're here. We're here because these are the transplants, and as you can see, they are all perking up. It's probably been about 2 days, maybe 3 days since I transplanted them all in the video clips, and they're all happy and healthy, and they're almost ready for their first trimming. So the only thing you really got to do is, once these get up so high, they're going to naturally want to flop over because they're just going to get long. So only while they're indoors and growing, you will clip these off and clip them down to about 4 or 5 inches on a routine basis. And what that does is it promotes new leaves to grow, and every time a leaf grows, it will thicken out the plant itself, so that by time that it comes time to plant them out, ideally you want them to be about a pencil width in size. So that's it. We've gone through from seed to transplant, and now we're just in the wait until they grow up and ready to go outside phase. So I hope this helps everybody. I hope this allows everybody to maybe grow some more onions, or if you failed before, maybe have a successful first year.